I have always been the favorite among my siblings. As the baby of the family and the only boy, I got doted on a little extra. This extra doting increased when I became interested in dance and discovered her talent for it. This makes sense in my mind. My schedule required more time and money devoted to it, since I now had to be taken to classes and showcases, needed the proper attire, etc. There were a few years of tension between my sisters and me, especially during our teen years, where it seemed like they blamed me for what was going on, or expected me to apologize for our parents' choices, something I adamantly refused to do. Tension seemed to ease some when we went our separate ways. My sister stuck around in our hometown to get jobs, while I moved to a city about an hour away from college. I met my now husband there, and despite what my parents tried to talk us into, we got married in a tiny ceremony at the local courthouse, where only immediate family was present. We had a party with our close friends and family later to celebrate, but the ceremony itself was just like we wanted, a small part of an intimate and peaceful day, focused on my partner and me. My older sister got engaged a couple of months ago, and my parents jumped at the chance to start planning an over-the-top wedding. I've been around for some of it, and a lot of what's being offered to the new happy couple was suggested to my husband and me when they were trying to convince us to have a big wedding. This didn't bother me at all. I was happy my sister was getting what seemed like the wedding of her dreams. Unfortunately, it seems like she's still holding a grudge over what happened when we were kids and has made multiple jokes about how she's the favorite now and that this is payback for all the things she missed out on when I was being chauffeured to dance practice. I took the first few in stride, but it's getting tiring now that it's been repeated so many times. I recently told her that the jokes were getting old, but that still didn't stop her. I finally had enough last night, and after a few drinks at a little weekend family get-together, I told her that her wedding was essentially a knockoff of mine, and that I doubted our parents would be putting this much effort in had I gone through with the extravagant plans they had wanted for me a few years ago. She left the room in tears, and I've gotten mixed reactions from family over what I said. Am I the idiot? Yes, you are the idiot, and it sounds like you've been the idiot their entire lives. First, you happily soaked up your parents' attention, knowing you were the favorite, and didn't even care that they didn't share your golden child status. Then the second the attention was off of you, you decide to try and attack as low as you can, instead of being happy that your sibling gets to experience some of the rarefied air you've been in your entire life. Your sibling taunts you because you're entitled and spoiled, and not very likable as a result. You taunted her because you're mean and resent not being the center of attention. I can't imagine weaponizing the poor decisions of my parents against a sibling that they hurt. Oh, but he, the person who benefited from the parents' favoritism, has totally moved on from it. Why can't his sisters do the same? I love how he didn't think that we'd get the sisters got job while he went to college thing was a blaring siren that he only got a college fund, while his sisters were stuck at home having to work right after high school, unable to further their education, or how the money went into dancing clothes, classes, and competitions. At this point, I even wondered if there was enough money for his sisters to get birthday or Christmas presents. OP, you're so full of yourself that you have to claim the wedding you didn't have as your own. You sound terribly spoiled. You've gotten so used to thinking the world revolves around you that when for once it didn't, you couldn't handle it. Your parents are the idiots as well, by the way. I disagree with it being a few lighthearted jabs from a sister. In my experience, that's never been the case in this sort of situation. Most of the time, it's passive-aggressive expression of outright hostility with the slightest of veneers of civility. It's often tough to deal with because it's so difficult to tell them to knock off their crap without it playing right into their game. OP's post reeked of him being an idiot, but I also think everyone is underplaying what the sister was doing. Everyone's the idiot here. When your sister kept trying to goad you, the adult thing to do was to ignore it, not goad her back. You're not children anymore, and you did have an advantage over her growing up. I, male 23, have been with my girlfriend, 22, for 5 years. We're both part-time college students and full-time workers. I lucked out and got a decent job making around $60 to $65K a year, depending on sales, and I also have a rental property that nets around $300 a month. My girlfriend works as a dental assistant, making $19 an hour, and working 36 hours a week equates to roughly $37K a year with bonuses. I've always usually paid for things because I knew I made more money. Recently, we moved in together, and I was okay for paying for almost everything because I was under the impression my girlfriend had no money, so I wanted her to save up. I didn't want to burden her, as her schooling is more complex than mine. She would always say that she had no money because of the bills she had to pay. My girlfriend got her car paid for by her dad and got college for free through work, so she pays car insurance and whatever she spends on her credit card. I, on the other hand, had to put down all the deposits for the apartment. I currently pay $1K for rent, plus roughly $400 for all other utilities. On top of that, I still have to pay my car note and my college tuition. My girlfriend does help with buying some groceries and helps with the laundry, but groceries for the month don't equal $1,400. Recently, my girlfriend left a bank receipt out, and I saw the amount of her total savings when I glanced over, which turned out to be $40K in a savings account. Now I'm questioning why I'm paying more for our living expenses. We recently argued about money, and I brought up her savings account. My girlfriend got mad that I found out and is accusing me of snooping around her stuff. And now she's trying to say that I make almost double, so I should pay for most of the expenses. So I need to know, am I the idiot for asking her to help pay more? Edit. My savings account is nowhere near hers. My savings account is around $5K because of the rental property I purchased about 4 months ago. Wait, hang on. You earn twice as much as her, and you own a rental property, but you don't think it's reasonable to split the bills based on income because she has more cash savings? You are the idiot. Your rental property is an asset with a value of $40K or more. If your girlfriend can't cover half the bills without cutting into her savings, she'd be quickly dwindling the savings. Are you having to borrow against the rental property to pay your share of the bills? If so, you're in an apartment you can't afford. What? She lied about her inability to afford things when she had $40K. She only buys groceries occasionally. That's not even close to paying a fair amount. Not the idiot. You guys should split the bills accordingly to what you earn or save. If you make more than her, then you contribute more than her. Likewise, if the roles were reversed, for example, 60% to 40% if it can't be 50-50. Yes, she has a lot of money saved up, but that doesn't mean she has to pay more now. However, she can help around with bills, groceries, etc. Agree. It doesn't matter so much what you both have in your savings or properties. What does matter is that you both make money, but only one of you is paying any bills. Also, if she's keeping something as important as financials a secret, she must not see you as a long-term relationship. My mom is currently visiting us. This is the first time since we moved 3 years ago. She's not one of those intrusive mothers-in-law, so sometimes I just wish my wife would let the little things slide. My mom and my wife had some issues years ago, but my mom has been fine during this visit. The only issue is she isn't eating, and I mean literally isn't eating anything. She's clearly going out and buying food because she doesn't seem sick or lethargic at all, but since getting to our house, the only thing I've seen her eat is one chocolate peanut butter cup. She sits with us while we eat, but always says that she isn't hungry or doesn't feel well, though she seems fine. Later in the evening, she has to use my car to get coffee, so I'm sure she's going out, getting what she wants, and binge eating enough to get through the next day. Personally, I don't care. She's a good guest, it's nice for me to see her, and she isn't being careless with my car, so no problem. My wife, however, is furious. She's currently not speaking to my mom due to this. She says I need to confront her, or she will. I flat out refused, as I said she was being polite about it, and who are we to force her to eat? My wife called me spineless and said she was going to handle it. She called her mom and sister to get their opinion and was ready for a confrontation. I broke down this morning and begged her to just let it go. She accused me of wanting her to just shut up and endure for my sake, and now she's mad at me. She says that she has to do it, as I'm a mama's boy. My mom is flying home tomorrow, and I just don't see any reason to make this an issue. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Your mom is passive-aggressive, with her blatant refusal to eat anything in your home. This is extremely rude and in some cultures, a direct insult. Your wife's reaction is over the top and for calling you spineless. Calling your husband names is idiot territory. Finally, your behavior is understandably infuriating to your wife, and you're enabling your mother's rude behavior. The three of you must act like adults and discuss this issue openly. So, it's rude to decline food, but not to try and guilt and nag someone into eating your food? If the mother doesn't want to eat the wife's cooking for whatever reason, then that's her right. People who demand their guests eat and throw a hissy fit when they don't aren't half as polite as they think they are, and in that aspect, they can shove their culture. I don't understand the mom either. I don't want to get to know you. I'm annoyed you keep trying to get to know me. You're spending too much time over here, but also, how dare you guys spend more time with your in-laws than me? Why can't your mother-in-law stay in a hotel if she's so uncomfortable around her son's family that she can't eat around them and feels the wife remains in her home too much and expects too much interaction? This is literally how every evil mother-in-law story starts, and yet OP is like, my mom is a great mother-in-law. OP is clueless about how his mom really is, and he's also very adept at rationalizing her behavior in her favor, so she's trained him very well. I hope he really listens to his wife over the next few days, if she's even talking to him by then. My mom isn't a bad mother-in-law. Fiancé agrees, though we aren't particularly close, and my fiancé isn't crazy about her. She treats us okay, but I've been told she's an idiot to work for. My mom is an executive in an industry where people tend to be idiots to begin with, and she's extremely money-driven, so I can imagine she's not pleasant at work. My fiancé works there and is an administrative assistant, not my mom's. My mom got her the job to help her out as she needed something with set hours so she could attend online school in the evenings. She has a lot of friends from work, and apparently there's a group chat where they heavily crap talk my mom. That doesn't even bother me, as I view it as them just letting off steam. But here's the issue. We recently went on a family trip, and my mom got really sick. So my fiancé gave her her phone so she could watch Netflix, and then we went out for the day. Apparently someone texted my fiancé something bad about my mom, so it popped up while she was watching Netflix, and my mom opened the chat and read everything they said about her. When we came home, she was sobbing. She showed everyone the chat, and her fiancé cussed us out badly. My sister ended up saying such nasty things, she got uninvited from our wedding. We have a bad relationship anyway, and she was just an obligation invite. What she said was really bad. To be fair, some of it was really misogynistic and gross. My fiancé tried to apologize to my mom, but my mom just screamed at her. She says she isn't coming to our wedding, and we would give her the money back if we had any decency. My fiancé got mad that my mom shouldn't have gone through her phone. When we went into our room, I asked her why she would give my mom the phone if she knew she had those messages and could get more. She demanded to know if I was defending my mom violating her privacy. I said no, but she should have never given her the phone, and I think it's human nature to snoop if you see something about yourself. I said we should at least consider giving her the money back, and my fiancé became very upset, as we couldn't do that without canceling our wedding. She accused me of only caring about my mom's feelings and blaming her for everything. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Snooping is wrong, but we're all human. If someone had lent me their phone and a message popped up saying crap about me, I don't think I could not look at it either. That's just reality. Your fiancé was doing something nice to leave her phone with your mom, but she should have had that crap locked down like Fort Knox before she handed it over, especially knowing that the messages were easily accessible and her notifications were on. That's on her. I also agree that if you're a decent person, you will return the money your mother gave you for the wedding. Your fiancé got caught blowing off work steam at your mom's expense. That's a deal breaker as for any potential relationship between your mom and fiancé right there. You're not the only one screwed here. I'm sure your mom got to read all kinds of stuff from coworkers and other business associates. It could easily cost people their jobs or make their work life a nightmare. That chat isn't just blowing off steam. This is nasty crap talk about your mom. That's really mean. Why are you marrying her? Also, the mother-in-law didn't snoop. The notification popped up on the screen when they were talking about her, and she saw it. It then became her business. I don't really feel sorry for OP's fiance. Her mother-in-law helped her get a job and was helping to pay for their wedding. And OP's fiance shows her gratitude by taking part in a Mean Girls group chat about her? That's unprofessional and foolish on a personal level. The fiance needs to apologize, and if she has any decency, she should give the money back. I, 32 female, married my husband, 33, 2 years ago, and we just had our first child together. We had a relatively intimate wedding and only invited a few people, close family and friends. My parents divorced when I was 20, and my dad remarried when I was 25. His new wife has a daughter, Kelly, who's 26. I've lived in a different country since I graduated from university, so I've only met Kelly on a handful of occasions, and we're not close. However, I've included her in the invite list because she's part of my dad's family. On my wedding day, Kelly showed up in a pure white cocktail dress. It was extremely over the top. Think mid-thigh split, plunging neckline. Very much a draw attention to yourself type of dress. Even ignoring the color, it was super inappropriate as we got married in a church. On the day itself, I decided to just ignore it and make the most of my day. But that didn't stop members of my family and my husband's family from asking me who she was and if I'd given her permission. It was just unnecessary drama, and while it didn't spoil the wedding, it certainly tainted it a little. I spoke to my dad about it afterward, and he told me that he hadn't realized what she would wear until they got to the church. She traveled separately, or he'd have told her not to. He said he'd spoken to her about it, and she said she didn't realize it would be inappropriate to wear white because the wedding's in a different country. We got married in France, and I refused to believe she genuinely thought the rules on wedding attire are drastically different there. Anyway, we've just sent out invitations for our son's baptism, and this time I didn't include Kelly on the invite to my dad and his wife. He called to ask me if it was an oversight, and I said no, it wasn't. I didn't want her there after what she did at my wedding. It was embarrassing, and I didn't want my son's baptism to be tainted the same way. My dad's wife is very upset and has stated clearly that if she's not invited, none of them will be going. So it puts my dad in a tough position, but I don't want her there. Am I the idiot for not allowing her to come? Not the idiot. Your stepsister knew what she was doing. She's an attention seeker, and your dad should grow a spine. If he doesn't attend the baptism, that's on him, not you. Everyone knows that no one can wear white to a wedding except the bride. There are exceptions, but only if the bride communicates them in advance. If you want to be petty, you could do the same to her if she ever gets married. She also showed up in club clothes at a church wedding. I don't want to know what outfit she thinks is appropriate for a baptism. Also, I can never buy the excuse, I didn't know the rules for wedding attire. What are you, living under a rock? White is off, unless the bride says it's okay. And for goodness sake, have you heard of Google? Use those vocabulary skills and type wedding etiquette France. How hard can it be? She wore that dress on purpose, and she will most likely wear or do something to focus on her again, like to announce her pregnancy. Wouldn't put it past the stepsister. You want close family and friends, and she's neither. Also, she's an adult and shouldn't expect to tag along everywhere her mother goes. I hope your father will attend, regardless of whether his wife does.